So last night, Tom was like, what do you want for dinner? I said, oh, like a Middle Eastern bowl. Okay. So give me a minute. Okay. No, I'm not doing this with you. Okay. That's a normal dinner to have. That's a normal, a Middle Eastern bowl. Okay. It's not the story. I'm not going to fight with you about that.
Very broad spectrum. Anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So he's like, I'm going to go to Tesco. I was like, I think we have everything. He was like, no, I want to pick up a few bits in Tesco. I want to get chickpeas to make a hummus. And I said, just buy a hummus.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, I want to make my own. No, I want us to make our own.
Okay.
You see where this is going? And I was like at this point, I was like, sure, whatever you want to do. Comes back, right? And he's like, when do you want to have dinner? I'm like, oh, we'll have it now. I'm kind of getting hungry. Cool. Do you want to get started on the hummus? Do I want to get started on the hummus?
The one that I asked you to buy.
The one that I asked you to buy. I go, are you fucking for real? He's like, what? What? He fully was like, well, you know, like, I was like, everything else is done. Everything else is done, and you want me to do the fucking hummus?
Oh, he's...
Imagine the neck of somebody going to the shop and being like, no, I want to make our own hummus. Guess what? You're up.
Yeah. He's a drip.
Brits out. Brits out.
I want to make hummus and I need a bottle of water.
Watch the match. Watch the match. Yeah, football.
He's an absolute drip. What's up, Patreons? What's the story with us?
Patreons.
Still love that.
Oh, we love to hear it. JLO.
JLO.
Okay, so this was requested by you, people.
Thanks for that.
Thanks for that. Never getting that fucking time back. So there's kind of been this like press run. Basically, JLO has not actually released an album in 18 years, I think, is what she'd be saying. Between 18 and 20 years. No, she kept changing that, though.
No,
At one point she said 18, then she would say 19, then she said 20. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So she decided to release an album, This Is Me Now, because she had an album previously, This Is Me Then. Again. Could anyone stand up and say that they remember the title of any of her albums?
No, absolutely not.
I remember the one called JLO.
Was that the bedazzled kind of?
Yeah, it was the blingy one. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So that's probably, and that's only because there was such furore in the press about her changing her name to like JLO or being seen as JLO.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, how fucking stupid, as P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, and everybody else floated around. Anyway, whatever. We hate women as a society.
A big bum and a small name.
Was that what they were saying?
A huge bum and a small name.
That is so bonkers. So she does this. Obviously, she had Super Bowl back in 2000 and
one of the years anyway.
I want to say 18 or 19. So there's been like she's had plenty of documentaries, and docu-series,
woman and her fucking documentaries. I swear to God,
going on. So we watched the latest one because that's kind of the one that's gone a bit like viral. And not in the way I think she had hoped it would go viral. I'm
sorry. Throughout the whole thing, she's been consistently told, this is going to flop, you're going to look stupid, you're going to get criticised for this.
Yeah.
By Jane Fonda, of all people.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what's happening.
Yeah. So...
And we're going to join in.
So, like, look, I think there's a bigger... the reason why I want to talk about it, because I think it's so... We talk about pop culture a lot on the podcast. I think it's so interesting to watch celebrities that we grew up with and like how they adapt or don't adapt to the landscape. I think another really good example is Justin Timberlake and what he's trying to do, like with his album. Because you have to remember, Justin Timberlake did, you know, he had his real kind of black appropriation time, his R&B, kind of pop R&B music, and that was all very much set in the early 00s. Him and Timbaland had so many things, and then he just kind of fell off a cliff. For I think there was 6 or 7 years between, was it Future Sex Love Science and the 2020. Anyway, who gives a fuck? There was a good bit of time before he came back with Suit and Tie and all that shite and Mirrors.
Yeah.
Okay, Mirrors is a banger, but whatever, we'll leave it off. It's a bit more pop, so I'm like, I'll let him do that. And then he fell off again. And as we know, because brings us up to when we did our episode on 2020, he did Man of the Woods. And we've a full episode. If you haven't listened to it, I really recommend listening to it. I read the fucking book, and it covers kind of what went on with Man in the Woods and what went on kind of a little bit and how he views himself. And I think JLO is another perfect example of somebody who views themselves very differently to how the public might perceive them and are very much living in like the culture around celebrity and the tabloid culture and all that stuff that we were talking about is so unbelievably vastly different to what goes on nowadays. And to be a Beyonce, the reason why Beyonce has stayed so current is because, number one, as we know, she's a fucking grafter. She was never going to let herself drop off. But to have the level of success that she has had consistently, you have to keep kind of like getting with the times and reinventing yourself, you know? Like Beyonce put the work, like whatever, again, we've had many, you know, conversations about this. Beyonce has put the work in time and time again to like actually reinvent herself and actually do something new, you know? Whether that be you enjoy it or you don't enjoy it. And I've spoken about, I personally don't really enjoy this whole country situation, but again, that's a conversation for another time. Someone like JLO who hasn't actually released music, and then the music that she does go and release is kind of like nodding to the shit that she used to release. That's not like, you can still have your stamp and your like what you are known for, but like be a bit more current, no?
Yeah. I personally, now Beyonce is one of those, there used to be like documentaries about her and like Destiny's Child and stuff like that back in the day.
They weren't her produced. They weren't like
No,
from
exactly.
her. They were like behind the music and all
Behind the
that other
music,
stuff.
that kind
We
of
had
thing.
Homecoming. I think Homecoming was very different because she had done the Coachella thing over the 2 weekends, and it was very like groundbreaking the way that she had brought that like level of a full like tour concert. She had done the whole thing, branded it, really put in like a different kind of show, you know, got the girls back, did the Destiny's Child bit, like really kind of brought a thing to Coachella that hadn't been done before. So I'm like, that's groundbreaking in its own way. Like Taylor Swift has had multiple documentaries, multiple movie, whatever the fuck. She's had Miss Americana, you know, all that other stuff. Katy Perry had a docu-series. Again, this is all like 2016, 2017, 2018. Like not really, not really now. We're 2024 now.
Yeah, I know.
Like we're in 2024 now. We're not.
Yeah.
Like 2016 was 8 years ago.
Yeah.
When you think about
JLo
it.
had that when she did the halftime
Performance
show,
thing, yeah.
she had a documentary about that. Now that was well after the actual halftime show. Like obviously, the documentary got released actually. Like it was about a year, no, two or 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So like it just.
There's so much about this that like it's like, how do you even start off talking about it?
No, well, it's not even that. What I was going to say about the Beyonce thing was Beyonce's not. She's the type of celebrity that just shuts the fuck up. She just, whereas JLo needs to talk about everything that she's done in a separate thing.
But I think that's to do with, and I think that's like this whole, before we get into like the breakdown of the docuseries, and I don't think we really, like, this is kind of the thread, and there's going to be a lot of repeating ourselves because there is so much repetition in this docuseries. Like, it was an hour and a half and it was so fucking painful, guys. It was so unbelievably painful. And poor fucking Tom had to watch it with me. Now, that's his get back for the hummus. Yeah. But he was like, the whole time, he was like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
And he was like, this is mortifying. And I was like, yeah, no, I get it. And the fact that, but then I'm like, is it a bit earnest too? Because like you watched this back and you thought that was okay to put out, or are you that disillusioned? It's like, do you remember when people were like on cribs and buying stupid gaffs to do better than each other? She's done this with a documentary. She's like watched the Taylor, watched the Beyonce, watched the Justin Bieber, the Katy Perry, and she's like, I'm going to do one better.
Yeah.
I'm going to fund it myself. Because no one else wants it. There's so... No, like at the start of it, one of the first things she says is nobody's waiting for more. Like nobody's on the lookout. Nobody's waiting for more JLo music. That's like the first fucking thing that she says. Yeah. Like one of the
she
in the first
basically
10
just
minutes.
said nobody asked for this.
Nobody asked for this.
Yeah,
but I want to do it, so I'm gonna make it happen. So you're like, good for you, girl. So within the first kind of 10, 15 minutes, we find out that it had been picked up by a studio. 30 million was the production budget, I think. And then it was dropped because they were like, nobody wants to see this. Nobody wants to watch this. And we don't know what studio. She doesn't say. No. She's just kind of thick at it being like, never in my, 40 years in the industry have I ever had a deal and this feedback after the deal was made for the deal to be dropped.
Yeah.
So she's just kind of thick at that.
Yeah.
Which is, again, that's understandable, right? That's fair. We'll let her away with that.
Fair enough.
Not a lot to let her away with, but we will let her away with that. So the this I still am confused as to what it is because you watched.
So Carla was like, okay, people are asking for this. I have a video task for it. I'm like,
Jen's like, sign me the fuck up.
Hold my beer. Like, love a video task.
Yeah.
So it was about this documentary, and I had seen it being compared to The Office, and I'd seen bits and bobs with like clips of Ben Affleck and stuff.
Yeah.
And
who's not really in it, by the way.
No, it's not really. And I was like, okay, grand. So I turned it on, but then I realised I was watching the actual thing that they were making the documentary about, because I was sending you voice notes throughout this going, she's going to make a documentary about this. I was like, this isn't a documentary. Then I was like, oh shit, I watched the wrong thing. I watched what they're making the documentary about. So it's not a musical, it's not a movie, but it's not a music video either.
Do not call it a music video, as we find out multiple times.
Do not call it a music video. But
it's a visual album. It's the same shit that Beyonce did with Formation and the Beyonce album back in 2013-14.
But she's saying that it was never been done before.
I know, Jen. I know she is, yeah. Because she
so
writes
it's not
out,
the same.
She's writing like so it's basically the album as a...
No, there's only about 4 or 5 songs in it. It's not a full album.
Okay.
Worth of an hour fucking visual. Like it's like an enactment, an artistic enactment of the running theme of it. I think.
Yeah.
Like it's,
and this is what I mean. Jen has watched it all, and we still I've watched the documentary. Jen has watched both, and we still between the two of us cannot figure out what it is.
Yeah. It is like it's like, do you remember when you bought an album years ago and you used to get, like, you hit the jackpot if you bought a CD and the CD was there and you got an extra CD, or you got the booklet in the
booklet,
CD.
do you remember? And you'd be like,
lyrics. Felt like you were buying merch with it, like you just got this. That's kind of, if it was a physical form, I feel like this would have been disc 2.
Or would have been a photo shoot. You know the way sometimes, I think Gwen Stefani did that, where she had like the cool photo shoot in the booklet of Love Angel Music Baby.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my God, she shot all this just for the album. I'm like, imagine being able to do a photo shoot just for your album.
Yeah.
Loser.
So this, if in physical format, if you were to buy a physical CD of this album, I feel like this would be in the case.
Yeah.
It'd be one of those double-sided, or like you'd flip it out and then it looks like a 3-disc case.
Yeah.
It was that. That's what I feel like it is.
Okay.
It's an add-on to the album.
Sure.
So the DVD is in the case. Do you know, that kind
of
thing?
Sure.
So, but obviously in today's media, this was all released through Amazon Prime, but we find out by the end that somebody did buy it.
After the fact,
So
after
Amazon,
it was made.
obviously.
Yeah. So Jen...
Because, do you know what? When I was watching the documentary, they were like, Ben asked her, because he's directing it and he's interviewing her throughout the whole thing.
He's helping. He's not directing.
He's
helping.
He's directing the documentary. So
did he direct the whole documentary? I don't think so, Jen. I don't think so.
I don't know.
I think he helped her with the interview bits because that part was easy. And even then you could tell he was fucking allergic.
He was allergic.
You know when you're like, you're so obsessed with, and this is what's like the theme of like their relationship a little bit, where it's like, you know, when your partner just has an idea and that you can't get it out of their head, they have to see it through. Yeah. It's like you decided you wanted to build a wardrobe. I'm sure Adam was like, for fuck's sake, do you know? And you were like, I don't care, I'm seeing this through. And you're like, I'm going to take care of it, I'm going to spend my money doing it, I'm going to do whatever, and I'm going to do it. And you're just kind of going, all right, babe.
The fucking comparison is so funny because it happens every weekend.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And you're kind of sitting there.
Guess what I'm doing now?
Yeah, I'm going to fucking repanel the play. All right. Don't worry, you don't really have to like, and you're just kind of, you're trying to get them excited about it, but you can see that they're dead behind the eyes. He's
the most depressed enabler I've ever seen in my life. Like you can tell. But so where was I? What was I saying? Kind of. Yeah,
we were talking about them buying. Someone bought it eventually.
So at the end of it, it was like, and did anybody buy it? And she was like, yeah, somebody bought it. And I was like, I wonder who bought it. And I was like, oh fuck, it's Amazon.
Amazon.
That's where this all is. Like,
so anyway. look, I think it's really important before we like get down into the specifics of it to like set that scene. This was not like, this shouldn't have been made. Okay. And I think as well, something that I picked up from it, because normally I'd watch this and I wouldn't really give that much of a fuck about it, you know, that kind of way. But I was watching this and I was actually and I was like, oh dear.
Oh, we've lost her. We've lost her.
I think there's just, at this, you have to kind of take everything into account. Like, I know that we're living in a life of excess and materialism and capitalism and all that other kind of stuff. But I think the economical world that we're living in right now, and the way that the world is right now, and the genocide that we're watching happen, and all of that other stuff has completely changed my mind about like a lot of the ways and the habits that I live. And I'm sure it has done so for most people, because we are now being really like, we are now living something and we're being able to see it every single day rather than reading about it in a history book. So it's like we're living in this kind of level of, we're living in a very different economic climate. And to see such a kind of grotesque vanity project with so much money spent. And I know she's like, she has the money anyway. She can spend the money whatever fucking way that she wants to. But I suppose it's also like, it's really hard to look at it with any sort of good for you. Yeah. Because I think it's really distasteful as an idea right now.
Yeah.
And I think we're really kind of starting to break down this whole like bling bling. And that's kind of what she was known for. Like this Jenny from the Block and the JLO kind of alter ego and all that kind of stuff is like, that was of a time where everybody was like, oh, like hip hop was huge. You know, rappers were all wearing these huge chains. It was like Grills was a fucking song. Do you know what I mean? Like
they were in the tunnel, the mirror tunnel, all the speakers, and it was like for the music videos.
It was like excess everywhere, and that was kind of how it was. It was like, yeah, and they were like flashy cars, flashier gaffs. You know, like wearing these stupid. Who the fuck is wearing that chain? Like I can't remember what rapper it was, but he was like physically couldn't wear the chain. It was too heavy.
Yeah.
On his neck because it was so heavy from all the bling and all the shite that he had put into it. And I feel like that's kind of like, I feel like she's stuck in a moment where she was relevant. And I don't find JLo relevant anymore. I think she's a beautiful woman that everybody will always be like a bit of an icon of the time. But I don't think she's a relevant celebrity right now.
No, and she's that kind of, we've said it before, I don't know what it is about JLo, but she's just not iconic.
Yeah.
She doesn't like, some of the behaviour that I saw out of her throughout the making of this musical that's not a musical, that isn't a video, that isn't a movie, like all of this, I was just kind of going, the only person in the world that gets away with that behaviour is Mariah Carey. And she has said, who the fuck is JLo?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
Do you know, it's just kind of, I was like, who the fuck? What are you at? She's very, very out of touch. And that's the backlash that she's gotten from generally most people. And it's funny that you should say, like, oh, with the Bronx and stuff like that, there's been a good bit of backlash about her in the Bronx as well, because she's like, because, you know, people have come out and they're just kind of going, stop using us to make you seem relevant. You left 40 years ago.
A very long time ago.
And you have done nothing for us.
Yeah.
You do nothing for
I haven't
us.
seen this.
Yeah. So you like she doesn't like, she might go back
give
for
back to the community,
a
or she
fucking
doesn't-
documentary or whatever. But she like, one thing I will say for, and I don't like saying, but a fucking grotesque Irish fighter that has a big name, he does give back to where he came from, because he mentions where he comes from, but he has given back. JLo hasn't. Like that, you know what I mean? Put your money where your mouth. Not that
There
you're
must be
putting
a better example than that man.
It's the one that comes off the top of my head now. I'm sure that there is.
Yeah. I think, like, and I wrote this down. This is so unbelievably unimportant.
Yeah.
Right? Was a thought I had.
Very true.
There is no overall message.
No.
There is no want to fight for her or back her.
No.
As a like, I'm not a fan. Like, I loved her music obviously growing up because, you know, she had bangers. But like, I wouldn't be a fan anymore. I think I thought she was unbelievably out of touch the minute that she started doing la 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 la, like that fucking song.
She lost
Get
me.
on the floor.
Do you know?
She lost me that. That's
Oh no, I tell you where she lost me now. She lost me at zil 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 zil
No.
zil zil zil
No.
zil 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 zil
I
zil.
rebuke that.
And then they repeat it. Zil 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 zil. Like, was that LL Cool J?
Yeah. No, I actually
That was
no.
the follow-up
I go
to-
hard for that song.
All my love is all I had. But they-
Pride is what you have, baby girl, not what you have. Like, what kind of line is that? Excuse
Do you
you.
remember the hat? And the-
Go easy. Don't make decisions when you're mad. It was so
God, it was
CGI'd. It was like the blur filter.
and the red nose because you're in the snow.
Oh, yeah. It's cold. It's so cold.
Did she have like
You frosty, yeah.
No, it was like concealer lips.
Yeah, that's
as
what I
well.
mean. Frosty, like, can see, and the whole, and it was like, this was when they were shooting music videos where it was just features. Do you remember Blue Cantrell in the Breathe music video?
Oh,
and it was
yeah.
like just a set of eyes, lips. There was not a pore. And in the documentary, it keeps going between like then and now. I'm like, whoa!
Yeah. Like,
Whoa!
I know.
Because it's like an AI.
I
but
will
back in the day.
I will say I appreciated just how like she came onto the screen 1 minute because like, you know, she's known for being so glam and, you know, just kind of going, my God, for a woman of 50 something, you're looking fucking great. And the next of all, she comes on looking like the Trunchbull.
No, see, I thought that was gas because I thought it was interesting that she tried to make Ben be like, and I'm this tiny little old lady. And he was like, no, you're not, you're JLO. Like, he was like, no, you're Jennifer Lopez. And you're really
Yeah,
not. She
yeah.
was like, you know, and you have to live with me. And I'm just like floating around with like a messy bun. And I'm just like every other girl. And he was like, no. he was like, no. We're
trying
not
to-
having this conversation. I'm pretty sure he was like, no. I've never said that to you because you are still JLO.
Stop trying to be fucking relatable.
Relatable. He's even like, stop it.
Right, so a few things to mention about the documentary in itself, the things that are going viral. So there's the list of celebs that didn't take part. I don't know why she included that. Or like,
And this is what I don't get, like, but I'm delighted she did.
oh no, it's very entertaining. But I did see somebody on TikTok last night and he was like, he goes, this is just a narcissist's way of showing everybody what. Like, because somebody had said to like, why, I think the question was like, why the fuck did she release so many like revealing things? And he
I don't
said,
think she's
I
an-
think that she thought it was going to be the most popular thing in the world and she wanted their names in it to make them feel bad.
And I would agree with that. I don't think she's a narcissist. I think she's an egomaniac. I think there's a very big
Oh
difference.
no, there is because
Yeah.
she even mentioned, and it always goes back in every fucking documentary about her growing up in the Bronx and being a middle child and being forgotten.
Yeah, I
All
think
of
she
these
is an
things. And she
egomaniac.
called her ma a narcissist.
Yeah, which is okay.
Yeah.
Right. So, like, it starts off, Benny Medina tells her, so Benny Medina is like her manager, the person who made JLO. And he's been with her from the start. And he apparently was like, you need to make music again because my bank balance is getting low.
Yeah.
Do you know? Mm-hmm. That must be in that. Because again, she says herself, nobody's waiting for new JLO music.
No.
Like, not one person. So, like, it was 2001 is when she first got with Ben. Because it kind of keeps going between these two things. It's like, I absolutely have to make this project because me and Ben are back together. So, because I absolutely have to make this project. Me and Ben have a love story that needs to be told. And I'm like, I'm so confused. That's what, there's no overall story. There's no overall point. And it's called The Greatest Love Story Never Told.
And Ben makes the joke in it. He's like, I went down to the studio and I saw this scrapbook of every letter that we sent each other.
Yeah.
Every, like, pictures, texts, all personal stuff. And
she had it
everybody's
out.
reading through it. And this is what the reference to him, it was like he was looking at the camera and doing an interview for the office, the US office, like a kind of, like a fucking, like a parody thing. And he was like, everybody was looking through it. And he says, surely if we're going to call this the greatest love story never told,
It wouldn't be told.
It wouldn't be told. I think like it is.
He is so uncomfy.
Yeah.
And he has had to be. You can see that again. She's like dancing around him, and like it's like I have to do this. And then
Yeah.
it kind of goes back to I kind of almost feel sorry for him because like
He's in it to a point, by the way, because I've seen the actual
Yeah.
the musical that
Yeah.
isn't a musical, that isn't a movie, that isn't a music video. His chin makes an appearance, and he's not actually in it.
No.
So it's the overall arch is that her heart was broken. She went through all these relationships. Then she learned to love herself, and then at the end she does, because like there's a scene in it. One of the songs is I say
God, the
can't get
songs
enough
are
or
dog
something
shit,
like that.
lads.
They're
The
dog
songs
shit.
are
They are
dog
dog shit. But
shit.
the video for it is that I think everybody's seen that fucking video, like where she's like going through the fucking garden with the wedding dress with the love heart hiding the like the coochie or whatever. But there's 3 men in that, so there's 3 husbands in it. So that's representing the 3 marriages that she had while she
Again,
wasn't
no one cares.
with Ben. Yeah. So, and then at the end, there's like a 4th marriage or 4th like wedding, and he approaches her with the chin.
Okay.
But it's a different, it's not.
It's a different setup. Yeah,
yeah,
she's in the thingamajigger.
Yeah, she's in the orange dress.
Yeah. Look, like, I think she kind of goes on, and this is where I'm like, she's just caught in how big it was back then. And it was huge because Ben Affleck was an Oscar winner and a very serious, well-known actor. And she had just come out of this like P. Diddy, like this kind of scandal with the gun and all that other kind of crack. And she was like, you know, a very stylish, very, you know, prominent, like had a major aura about her. Like she's charismatic no matter what, like she is. Like there's a reason why she's a celebrity. She does have that level of charisma and fashion, and she was very much, but I always am like, JLO was a spot in time. I'm like, that was her time and that's it.
Yeah.
She hasn't evolved with the times. I'm like, no, that was it. She hasn't done anything noteworthy since.
No.
Personally. And that's again, me, somebody who was like a passive fan. Enjoyed her music back in the day. When the songs come on, I'll dance, of course, you know, but I'm not seeking out.
It's a nostalgic moment. It's not, she's not like, I'm trying to think of somebody else who, I made
like
the
again,
comparison
Shakira
before.
has like, Shakira has stayed relevant, you know, and Shakira kind of came up around the same time. We've talked about Beyonce, she came up around the same time.
Yeah, like, but they've grown up with their music.
They've grown, but like even Shakira has continued to stay relevant and now, and like because Shakira really had like a very big part in Latin American music becoming mainstream.
Yeah.
And now we know that it had a new revival from 2016 onwards, and it's still in a very, very kind of like intensive, you know, hyper popularized state. So Shakira stays relevant because she's the person who crossed over and allowed that to happen. She bridged that, you know, so like, and she's noted in the community as being that person.
Yeah.
Whether it's JLO again, I'm like there's lots of different reasons as to why she's famous. I'm not going to go through them now because I personally couldn't give a fuck. But I think, and you can see through it, there is a massive, massive overestimation in public interest of her and Ben.
Yeah.
And that is like, again, another thing.
Didn't she try to recreate the yacht photos when they got back together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stop that.
And again,
that.
he's like, please can we not
iconic.
do this? She's like, oh, we have to. And he's like, fine.
Yeah.
So I'm like, kind of cute how much he loves her.
Well, he did say in it, he was like, I did say to her when we got back together that I didn't want to have a social media relationship. And then he said, then he gaslighted himself and he was like, well, that's like getting with a boat captain and not like a water sort of thing. Like,
and this is what I mean. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe these people are admitting these things on camera.
Yeah, I know.
I'm shook as a pup.
Yeah.
When I watch it. Something else that I thought was absolutely fucking hilarious. Prince did this with Purple Rain. Girl, I was like, oh, the delusion. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh, you are not Prince.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's one thing to, like, I can see why she might think that she's a bit of a Beyonce. You know what I mean? She's not. But I can see why she thinks, because she's like, I'm a dancer. I sing too.
Same but different.
There you go. I think as well, she probably looks around and is like, well, Rihanna's getting all this clout for X, and, you know, Beyonce's getting all this clout for this and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, again, you are not the same. But when she brought up the Prince thing, I was like, oh, for fuck's sake.
I know.
And she also hires Paris Gobel, who we know is one of the most popular choreographers in the world at the moment, did Rihanna's Super Bowl, did Justin Bieber's Sorry video. That's how she got her come up. I think I talked about her a lot in the Super Bowl episode because she is the moment.
Yeah.
So she's hiring all these people that her peers are using. Do you know what I mean? So she's always like, well, she's Paris, I'm getting Paris.
Yeah.
Like, go back to your fucking 1-2 step. Go back to that.
Yeah.
With your fucking stupid cane. Okay? Go back. She over explains every single thing that goes on. To a fault. She brings up that fucking Ben book how many times?
Yeah, in the first 5 minutes. Yeah.
I'm like, and this is what I mean. There's no narrative. I'm like, is this your vanity project, or is this like she's trying to make it out like she's doing this because she can't quite cope with the love that her and Ben have. But like,
But we're just living our lives. That's just us living our lives.
so like, sorry, another thing that they mentioned when the deal gets pulled from them is that they feel like the quality is not going to be there. And that is a line of feedback that Benny Medina gives JLO back from the studio. The studio, we don't know who, feels like the quality is not going to be there. And she sees red. Because if you know JLO, even throughout whatever, she is a perfectionist.
It does look great. Like, to be fair, the musical that isn't a musical, it isn't a music video, not a movie. It does look great.
How many times does she say meta?
Oh, God. Did you count?
Yeah.
17.
18.
Not bad.
This is so meta. This is very meta. This is meta. This is very meta. Explain what that means. Because the way she's trying to explain it is like, this is current. That's why she's saying meta. She's using meta instead of current as her word. Do you get me? She's like, yeah, but like, it's meta. So I want to do the love book, the love story book, whatever the fuck it is. I want to do that, but make it meta. What does that mean? There's like you're saying words.
I'll give you the definition, shall I?
Yeah,
It's an
yeah.
adjective, anyway.
Yeah.
A creative work referring to itself or the conventions of its genre, self-referential. In a sentence, the enterprise is inherently meta, since it doesn't review movies. This doesn't really help. It's like short for meta key. Anyway, it's not meta. Meta is acting like not removing yourself from the character.
Yeah. But
It's
anyway.
in short, that's what it is.
But the way she's using the word meta, she's trying to use it like
the way most people use the word ironic, and so I was wrong. It's just
like it's the wrong. Like I was like, okay, you say again. This is no, that's not it, girl. That's not it. So her begging to Mark's friend, Mark Antony. What's his name? Mark Anthony.
Anthony,
Mark Anthony. So
Ramos, something Antonio Ramos.
So she wants to use this Antonio Ramos man for one of her harebrained
glass
ideas.
house.
The glass house. Thank you.
And do you know what's funny? Because when I was watching this documentary and I'd seen him going, I can't really do this. I'm Mark Anthony's friend.
Yeah.
She was like, but it's not about Mark Anthony. This is about loads of basically saying it's about all of the different types of relationships. I watched the musical before I watched the documentary, and when I saw that glass house scene, I was like, that's about Mark Anthony. Yeah. I immediately went there.
And that's a real, like, that's a DV scene.
Yeah.
So, or it's definitely appropriating that, or what would you say?
Unsavory.
Like
it's unsavory. That's
it's
the
not
word
a
she
scene
used.
that you'd want to like be related to you, shall we say? And something that I think is gas is when she's on the phone to this guy, like trying to explain. She's like, "Yeah, but I have kids with Mark," and that's her and Mark Anthony obviously don't have a good relationship.
No,
you can tell from the phone call. And her excuse to try and get his friend on board is, but I have kids with him.
Yeah.
And it gets beggy.
It does.
But the whole thing gets beggy.
Oh, like she's basically bribing Jane Fonda at one stage. Like,
yeah. So, yeah, like she keeps saying, I'm not even playing me to your man. She's like, I'm not even playing me in this journey. I'm playing the character of, she can't even explain the project. It's meta. It's meta.
And it was in this scene as well that she was trying to be a 28-year-old. This is where she puts the fringe on. So even Ben was slagging her about this. He was like, 28? Really? You want to play yourself as a 28-year-old? It's meta! It's like, this is the conversation.
Genuinely. And these are the things that they leave in. We're not making this up. This is something I watched with my own two eyes.
Yeah.
And I cannot believe I watched it with my own two eyes. Like, she's also using, and that's another thing that I'm like, JLo's so stuck in her time. I can't remember her best mate / assistant / who is that woman again? Elaine. Mm-hmm. So Elaine and her are the same age and came up, and again, Benny Medina, same fucking person. your woman from the wardrobe, same fucking person who's been dressing her. So it's like they're all just left in it, which is nice. Like she's like kept her team around her.
Yeah.
But again, it doesn't give you involvement.
They all seem very enabling as well. And no,
They
sorry,
can't-
not
They
enabling.
can't say no to her.
They can be enabling. Like once she said, "I'm funding this myself," you could see every single person was just like, "Oh, so this is the next few months."
And even the wardrobe woman is like, she's like saying it to the wardrobe woman. She's trying to get her excited. She's like, it's just going to be so meta. And it's going to be like, it's a love story. And it's going to be this incredible docu-series, but not a documentary. It's like a music, the story, it's a movie, but not a movie that's told through. It's never been done before.
It's not a music video.
And even the wardrobe woman won't even make eye contact with her. She's just like, does that need to happen? Like, even the wardrobe woman womped it.
Yeah.
The woman that you've been employing for 30 years even was like, womp womp.
Yeah.
Don't do this. Nobody wants it. Would you like the list of people that she asked to be in it that said no?
Yes, please.
And then some people actually came back and were in it in the end. So the people that initially said no, and we'll then go through the people who actually end up in it, are Taylor Swift. And they're literally like Taylor Swift's. And this is like a round table discussion. Taylor Swift said no. Jane Fonda can't do it. She does want to have a conversation with you though. Jason Momoa has scheduling issues. Jennifer Coolidge said no. Lizzo said no. What do we want to do about Vanessa Hudgens? And then there's some kind of like off camera that you can't really hear, and they're like, right, okay, we'll move on. Bad Bunny said no. James Corden said no. Ariana.
No, James, I don't think he did because they got Trevor Noah, I think, and
Yeah.
he was like, "So are we going to go with James Corden?"
Oh, okay, maybe that was it.
They didn't want to have two
Two
presenters.
of the same.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande said no.
Shock.
Snoop Dogg. Shock. Snoop Dogg said no.
Yeah.
Derek Hoff.
Yes.
So Derek Hoff says no. She's
But-
like, I'm not accepting
No,
that.
but I think they said he actually had scheduled. He was at a wedding.
So he was at a wedding. She's on the phone to, I think, Elaine. I want to say it's Elaine. And she's like, I need Derek. And Elaine's like, he's at a wedding. And she's like, whose wedding?
Yeah.
And your one Elaine is so exasperated. She's like, he's in the wedding, Jennifer. Like, he's a groomsman in the wedding. He's not gonna, and she even says, she's like, he's not gonna miss a wedding for, and then kind of leaves it hanging in the air. Because he can say, like, for whatever the fuck this is that you're doing. And she's like, no. Call him. And your one just goes, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I was shocked she left that in.
Shook to my core.
Yeah.
She's like, because even she's like, whose wedding? As if like, how could that be more important?
Yeah. I know.
Anyway, that poor fucker shows up
Yeah.
and does it for her. I don't know what the fuck. Anyway, Khloe Kardashian says no. And she, after this line, like her like absolute 15-minute portion of all the people that have said no, she's like, people are scared to put themselves out there. I get it.
Yeah. And then she said something about the excuses that they came up with. She was like, oh, it's because they don't get the script, or they're not sure about the script. She says, or the script, they say that when the script is bad. I know, I've done it. So like she
knows. She knows.
Yeah.
She then goes on to say, the story of Ben and I has never been told. Who wants it told?
Yeah.
Who wants it told? Who has asked for this to be told? She says this a million times. I'm like, I'm like screaming at the television.
Yeah.
I'm like, who wants it told?
I know. It's bonkers when you think about it.
Again, you were like in a bubble of a like whirlwind relationship with a fucking massive, huge diamond ring when everybody was like, when that was something that people were interested in knowing about. He was a big actor. You were a big singer. It was like a cool Hollywood couple that everybody shipped. You like, do you get me? I'm like, shut the fuck up. Nobody needs to hear about your love story 20 years later.
Yeah.
20 years later. And you think that we're still like as invested as we were when you took the yacht photos. That is fucking bonkers to me.
No, it's like, it's serious.
She
notions
rewrites
about herself.
history so many times. Like another thing that she says, and this is way later on, is that she said that her and Ben broke up 3 days before they were supposed to get married due to the pressure. I'm pretty sure Ben has come on a couple of times being like, I was dealing with a lot. And then obviously we know that he's dealt with like addiction issues consistently and all that other kind of stuff. I find the way that she's...
And he had met Jennifer Garner in that time.
And I was about to say that as well. Like, he met Jennifer Garner not too long afterwards,
No,
married her...
before.
Oh, before?
They were acting together. They were on 2 movies together. And then it wasn't, I think, JLO and Ben broke up. And then like 4 months later, he announced that he was with Jennifer Garner. They got married not too long after that.
Yeah, and then they obviously stayed together for a very long time. And now we just saw photos not too long ago of Jennifer Garner at an amusement park with Emmy. Is it Emmy, JLo's daughter called Emmy?
Yeah.
Yeah. And Jennifer Garner's daughter that are kind of, I think, around nearly the same ages.
Right,
So they're not too far off. Anyway, like, we've seen Jennifer Garner a million times. We know that she's very much like... She's helped Ben through his addiction.
Yeah.
She's tried to be there for him. She's like very good with this whole blended family situation. She seems genuinely happy that he's remarried. Like, again, these are all seeming things. Have you seen her TikTok? She seems like the most wholesome human being.
Yeah. I think
seems-
she came under fire recently because there was like a dinner table thing. And there was, I can't remember your one's name, but she's a black woman and she's originally from California. They were all talking about like Hollywood and stuff like that. And she was just like, people talk about California, but nobody's actually originally from California. I am. And then Jennifer Garner turns around and goes, yeah, but where's your ancestors from?
Oh, yikes. Fuck
Just
me.
real, but where are you really from?
Oh, no, not one
One
of
of
those.
them.
Oh, dear.
Yeah,
Oh, dearie me.
Yeah, one of them.
Okay, I'll have to look that up.
And then she had done, I think, something else come up as well. She was on Jimmy Fallon and she was talking about like a swollen lip that she had, and she compared herself to an African woman with one of the discs in the, in one of the African tribes.
Oh, stop telling me these
That's what
things.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Just put.
Like, yeah, so, like, again, I think another theme is that she clearly projects what she wants other people to feel about her. You know, the kind of way? Like, with the whole Ben and the bun. You know, when I'm this little old lady with my bun, he's like, no, shut the fuck up. He's like, no, you're not though.
You're beyond that. Like.
You're beyond that. And then she kind of goes on to say, I didn't think much of myself, so the world didn't think much of me. When was that a narrative?
Yeah.
That you had out in public? What?
I know. And then there was another point as well where it was just like, oh, because there's a scene in it and it's like Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's like Lovers Anonymous or whatever. And there's a fucking Dawn scene, like shock horror. But she's around this and she was like, I kept quiet for 20... When
Did you keep quiet?
Didn't
You
keep
shut
quiet.
the fuck up.
Yeah.
And like when she's talking, sorry, that's another thing. She talks about her relationships and in all fairness, disrespectfully. She says, the first time she was married for 11 months. That was back like fucking 90s, way, way, way back in the day. Second time she was married, I think she was married for just over a year to your man Chris, that dancer. Third time she was married was Mark Anthony. She was married for 10 years. Okay? So like you had children with him, you built a life with him. He was very much your husband for 10 years and your partner for I think maybe 12 or something like that. But you didn't love any of them. You loved Ben the whole time. I never stopped loving Ben. My love for Ben was just put in a box and put to the side. I'm sorry, you have kids with a man that you were with for 10 fucking years.
Yeah.
Like, that is no matter what disrespectful. You can, of course, there's so many other ways to say that you like came back to a relationship. You can always say that like, it didn't work out. As you said, the pressure is apparently the reason why you guys broke up in the first place. We got back in touch, the spark was still there, still fancied each other, and like we had all this life experience and we wanted, do you know what I mean? There's loads of ways. We understand that no one's doubting that you fucking love him.
This is the thing, because it's I feel like this isn't actually, and like who am I to say, obviously she just likes, it's like she likes to make everything a fairy tale. So she's coming out with this narrative that her heartbreak, the last 20 years, she's just been dealing with the heartbreak of like the one that got away, which was Ben Affleck. But I genuinely think she's just...
No, that's a
this is
narrative
the
that she's come up with,
excuse
yeah.
to make this fucking musical that isn't a musical, that isn't... You know what I mean? It just seems very that way. And because he even turns around and he was like, okay, so this is about me the whole time?
Yeah, and she's like, yeah. And he's like, no.
Yeah.
And her whole team keeps saying, and this is like when Jane Fonda comes back in, when the wardrobe woman comes back in with her friend Elaine, this is a conversation that happens. And as I said, there's a lot of repetition because it happens 90 minutes and it happens at least 6 or 7 times between different people that are all close to her. All of them are like, but we understand, we know you're in love, so don't force it down our throats.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's actually a thing that's said to her
Yeah.
consistently. She's like, we get your relationship, everyone. And I think at some point her friend tries to like reason with her and she's like, the public are so happy for you right now. Do you think the public will still be really happy for you when you try and like prove to them
Yeah.
that? And she's trying to say it basically being like, do you think the public will give a fuck about this so much if you then try and ram it down their throats? Because again, nobody gives a fuck about this.
Yeah.
And she's like, this story has to be told.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
This story does not have to be told. And poor fucking Benny Medina in the mud. Oh my God.
Oh
the
my God.
fucking mud, lads.
The
She's a
mud.
stupid scene about roses and flowers. What's it called? Hearts and Flowers. Is that the song?
It's the scene is basically it's all CGI. The whole thing is done in a studio. So she doesn't even go to the fucking Bronx when she's like pretending that she's in the Bronx talking to her younger self or whatever. But there's like the man in the waistcoat that was trying to show her the mud. I felt so fucking sorry for him because I've been on a set and I know how fucking long them days are, and I could see him literally turning around to her. So basically there's this heart factory and there's these petals and the petals feed the heart and that's how it keeps going. But then the petals start dying off, and this is apparently a reference to her and Ben breaking up at the very beginning.
Oh, this is when her and the guy are on the motorbike and they're shooting through the desert and it looks like a perfume ad.
Yeah.
And then they crash.
Then they
Very
crash.
graphic, by the way.
Yeah. And then this is the petal fucking... This is the factory, and she looks like she's after been through the war. She's wearing a tank top. She looks like fucking Sarah Connor from Terminator. And then, so all the petals start dying off, and then it's just like a mud, like desolate, and it's a mud place. But even the fella who was there, he was like, sorry, because she had to go somewhere. And she treats the people like the minions. She treats them like shit.
I have to go.
But I'm literally on my way out. I'm gone. Because he's like, I've been waiting all day to show you just like 2 samples of this mud. And he's like, I just really need to
and Benny has to try. Benny's like, no, give me 2 seconds. She's like, no, I'm going. And he's like, because from the start, in the first 10 minutes, she tells us about this mud and how she hates the consistency. And the consistency has to be so specific. And everyone's like, that's Jennifer. She's just a perfectionist. And I'm like, nope, that is an egomaniac.
Yeah. I know. And I just felt so sorry for the fella because she was then sitting in the car, and while the car was reversing, they were still roll down the window, we'll show you this mud. Like following her out of the fucking car park with this mud so that she could make this. And just like, where did you need to be so fucking urgently? You look like the Trunchbull. You're not going anywhere special.
Yeah.
Like, why are you treating people like this? And then the stark difference between him and like the people that, like the dancers, like some of the people that are on the set, she's just kind of treating them like shit, whatever. Even the manager of the warehouse, like, why don't we have power? This kind of thing. To when these Zodiacs, the cast come in, absolute lickers.
I know. She's such a lickers.
I was like, what the fuck is wrong with you? It reminded me of so many fucking events that I've been to with influencers.
No, I know. It's actually kind of gas. You're just like, oh, Jesus. Like, why is she doing her own makeup, by the way?
Was she?
Yeah, she does her own makeup. You see a guy fussing with her hair and she kind of hops
touch-ups.
in and stuff like that. But like, a lot of it, she's so beautiful though. Oh my God. Oh my God.
And like in the finished product, some of the things you're just like, why are you in full glam? Like, why is this so glamorous? And I was like, that's iconic. To be fair, that's iconic.
I was like, slay the day away. Yeah, I was like, sure. I was like, and that's one of the things that I was like, I was looking at her and I was like, wow. Because I know she's been under she's been under fire a lot of times for like saying that she only uses olive oil and all this other kind of shit. No, and like, I don't actually believe that she has had much Botox and fillers.
No, sure. When she's moving her face, you can see the eye bags, you can see the lines. Like, to be fair,
yeah, but she just has aged immaculately. Like, has aged incredibly, and she looks beautiful. But she has had the best of the best of the best. Like, I'm sure she's done like some laser treatments and all that other kind of stuff, just like anybody would, like non-invasive treatments, of course. But like when I see her, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, like you have just fucking banging genetics.
Yeah.
And like, good for you too, because I'm like, you're not promoting this kind of, ageless. Because like her beside Jane Fonda, I'm like, oh my God, Jane Fonda is like done. Do you know?
She is done.
She's done. Yeah. Immaculately done.
Very Kris Jenner.
But beautifully done.
Yeah, looks unreal.
And I'm like, okay, I can see that, when you're like, okay, I see the difference. Because Jane Fonda's what, like 10, 15 years her senior maybe? And I'm like, okay, yeah, I see the difference in like somebody who is because obviously there's going to be speculation consistently with JLo, but like when I see her in that, I'm like, no, okay, it looks a lot more raw, it looks a lot more real.
Yeah.
And
No,
like,
when I say the trunchbull, I just mean her little greasy bun.
no, I
I
know
don't
you
mean
do. Yeah,
her.
no, you do. No, I know you don't. I know you don't. Like, so then the people that she actually does get is Jennifer Lewis, JLo, as she calls herself.
She's Gemini.
She's Gemini. Neil
And
deGrasse.
to be fair, when she fucking comes in, very funny.
She's
like,
hilarious.
who the fuck is after calling me down here for a fucking
She's like, I'm an Oscar winner.
Yeah. She's like, listen, you're in big fucking trouble for getting me down to here. Like, what the fuck am I showing up for?
But you can see there
what is
also
this
like,
bullshit?
oh, why am I here?
Yeah.
So she has Neil deGrasse, don't know who that is, Trevor Noah, Sofia Vergara, Kim Petras, Post Malone, and Kiki Palmer. Bonkers.
So Neil deGrasse is a big one in the scientific community, which I was very shocked at because he doesn't believe in the zodiac.
Okay, but he played. What did he play again? Like Leo or something?
So out of touch. Yeah. So basically, the setup is like this cast that Carla just mentioned, the celebrities that said yeah to it. They're all the zodiac signs. So like one is Gemini, one is Leo, one is Pisces, and they all have this kind of ego and like this running commentary, and they're up in these, like they're up in the eaves, and they're looking down, and the scenes that Jennifer is playing is the universe. But these are her kind of conscious. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think the point of this, sorry, is that like she would do anything for love. She would go to an astrologer who would give her the best pairings.
Yeah.
So that's where the zodiac comes into it. And I'm like,
yeah.
okay.
No. So Neil deGrasse is it's just funny because it's so out of character for him. Like, why would you blatantly get somebody who doesn't believe in this shit?
Yeah.
And he said it
be
in
this.
his interview as well. He was like, oh yeah, because the stars like tell you, like the universe gives a shit about you. This kind of
Yeah,
thing.
he was like, people who believe in astrology really believe that the universe give a shit about them.
And then he laughs it off.
Yeah.
And it's like, why get him
why get
of
him
all
involved?
people?
That's kind of very gas.
Do you know? And he's like a big doom and gloomer kind of like,
Yeah.
this is when the world is going to end and this is how it's going to happen kind of thing. He's been on Joe Rogan a lot.
Oh, lovely.
He's one of these. I will say
him?
he's all right at the acting in it. Kim Petras, brutal. So is Post Malone.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Post Malone, God bless him, he wasn't well in that now.
Oh, like,
He was definitely on it.
But the acting, when I was watching it, I didn't realize they were all in the same room because Kim Petras looked as if she was talking to a wall. It was like, what is this? She's just so flimsy and whimsical and this just not in, like everybody else did a much better job, even Post Malone did.
Yeah,
like, this
you were
is
just
bad.
like, this is bad. Like,
This
yeah,
is
yeah.
really bad, yeah.
Um,
And then Jane Fonda was just like the mother, fairy godmother of them all. She wasn't a sign, wasn't she?
no, I think she was just kind of, I don't really know.
She was like a referee for all of the signs or whatever.
She didn't want to do it, and then like JLo's on the phone. She's like, "It's 2 hours, an hour for hair and makeup, and an hour for shooting." I'm like, "Since when has a shoot ever been 2 fucking hours?" That's like me lying saying the podcast takes us 2 hours.
Yeah, I know. It's like 6 hours.
Yeah.
Easy.
Like I'm like, it's a day's work.
Yeah,
So whatever. Anyway, another thing, her telling her mate on set that she gives people anxiety when she's on set. Why are you admitting this?
Yeah.
Everybody's fine, and then I come on set and you can see they get all jumpy because I'm all over them. Yeah.
That's not a good thing.
That's not a good thing. What I thought was weird as well is like she's not really like, she has an alcohol brand for somebody who doesn't drink alcohol. I don't know if it's wine or if it's a spirit. I can't remember, but she has an alcohol brand. I think it's wine.
Okay.
They don't use her alcohol in the shoot. I'm like, surely that's product placement, like Beats by Dre. Do you know that kind of way? Like,
Yeah.
surely there's like some kind of endorsement that you could be doing for all of the mad other shite that you have.
I think she's trying to come across as humble. This is the thing.
But like, then you close up on somebody filling the wine glasses full of white grape juice. So like, you want everybody to know that no one's drinking, but you have an alcohol brand.
Yeah.
And this is why people have issues with you having an alcohol brand you don't drink.
Yeah, very true.
So, okay. We'll leave that one there hanging in the air. Again, she keeps saying this has never been done. I think there's a good reason.
You said Prince did it. You literally
You said Prince did it, but then apparently this has never been done. Fat Joe.
So this, because he's from the Bronx and they kind of were...
No one knows what it's like. You can't break people like Fat Joe and JLo.
No.
Apparently, is what Fat Joe is telling us. You cannot break us because we are from the Bronx. I'm like, you can ask Raya Farrell. He's also...
Do you know what I was going to say? I think Ray is a better representation of the Bronx than fucking JLO and Fat Joe. Like,
You know what I mean? I was like, okay, that doesn't make you anything. That doesn't say anything.
no.
You can say like, I grew up in a rough area. You could say like lots of different things.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
I
mean?
know.
You can say
See,
like,
she
look,
did
I grew up like in a certain area. It's giving me a bit of an edge, whatever. But it's like, yo, you can't break us. We're from the Bronx. I'm like, okay.
And the first song where she's in that heart factory, there's a part in it, and I was kind of looking at her going, is she really fucking saying this?
Yeah.
There's still a few lyrics in it saying, I'm still from the block, I'm still from the block.
And
I'm
they
still
keep
from the block.
repeating throughout it. It's like, I'm from the block.
Yeah.
I'm from the block. And it's just in the back, randomly, just every so often shouted out.
Yeah, she's from. We fucking know, JLo. Every time you open your mouth, you tell us that you're from the Bronx. Then she's like training, doing a bit of choreography, and then she takes her hair out, and it's all shaggy, and she's like, I just like to do this because it reminds me of me in the Bronx. And this is what people on TikTok are going mad at. They're like, stop.
Oh yeah, I saw that person being like,
Saying-
from where? From what block? Tell me what block.
What block? Like, what the fuck? Don't stop trying to make it look like we're all fucking like barbarians. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Ray is from the Bronx. He's not a barbarian.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. I'm like, okay.
I don't know. She's fucking mental. She is.
I know. Like the Hearts and Flowers song is a joke. It's a fucking joke
Yeah.
of a song. Ben Affleck also comes in at the end and he's like, you don't have anything to prove. And she's like, wrong. I want to do this anyway. And he's like, okay. Ben, there's this like scene of her, she's in the gym. She's like, I'm not working out today. I'm not working today. I'm not doing anything today. And then she tries to have this like real moment with the camera where she's like, Ben is away at a premiere for something that he's worked on for 18 months and I can't be there today because I'm working doing this thing and this means so much to me, but he means so much to me and I feel like shit because I can't. You are funding this. It is literally your project.
I know.
It is not the same as your Oscar-winning director husband.
Yeah.
You cannot conflate these two projects, my love.
No. You definitely can't. And there was no tears. And when
No
she was
tears.
doing that, this was also at the weekend where she was doing nothing. So you could have gone.
You said, I'm doing nothing. I don't want to do anything.
No, like fair enough. You're tired. That's valid. You're probably tired. But like,
I understand that you probably couldn't have hopped on the plane and got to wherever this premiere was, or I'm sure there was lots of different scheduling reasons as to why. But like, don't put that on camera, fake cry or not cry, and say how like you can't believe
how
that
hard
you've sacrificed this big moment as his wife to be there for him, and he's been working so hard on this project, and you can't be there at the premiere.
yeah,
Choices.
yeah, you literally can be there at the premiere.
And everyone's telling you don't have to do this vanity project. And she's like, no, I do. And then she's trying to make us feel sorry for her because she's working on this project and it means so much to her, but Ben means so much to her. I know what I'd choose.
Yeah. And then it's going to be another thing as well, right? Throughout this whole thing. So she's made a pretty hefty statement in saying that this is basically revolves around her and Bren's breakup 20 years ago. Did I say Bren? Her and Brenner. Right.
Her and Brenner.
Her and Ben's breakup 20 years ago and then they getting back together or whatever. Are they going to last? Is this like, this is going to be, you can't just delete this.
I really want them to last.
So do I. I don't
I think
they
everybody
will, though.
wants them to last, but I don't know because I'm like,
Would you if you were with her? And he's a bit of a weirdo as well. Like he's not,
he's
you
not
know,
100% there.
he's
Like,
not. He's definitely
no,
not.
No.
So it's just, I don't.
Like even when Jane Fonda's running lines with her again at one point, and Jane Fonda stops and is like,
What the fuck is this?
why are you doing this?
Yeah.
She literally stops and is like, why are you doing this? And she's like, I'm so glad you asked that.
But even the way that JLo was speaking to Jane Fonda in it was like a movie scene. It was like it was rehearsed.
And what's so funny is because they're running this line and then JLo says something back. Your one's like, something about love. Jane Fonda says something about love. And then JLo says something back. And then Jane Fonda's like, oh, I like that line. She's like, you see? This is why I'm doing it.
You see what I'm doing here?
So
You see where I'm going with this?
yeah. She's like, and Jane Fonda's like, no, I still don't see. I'm just saying that's a good line.
Yeah.
Like, as in well done. Because that's actually a good line out of this piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, the end is like loads of people. Sorry, the end of the documentary is like loads of people like saying inspirational quotes. There's like a live, laugh, love thrown in there.
Yeah.
There's like, you know, fight through the pain. Beauty is pain is kind of thrown in there. Loving yourself is thrown in there. Rising above it is also, you know, the usual kind of like open up a quote book or go into like a house in Essex that's all grey velour.
Yeah.
And you'll see all this shit all over the wall.
Yeah.
She believed she could, so she did. You know, girl boss, bossing it up.
5 a.m.
CEO, 5 a.m. club.
Sea swimming.
Yeah. Just
All of the inspiration.
split the G. I'm sure someone said at some point.
Yeah.
You know, Mass was there. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's just like,
Oh, it was painful. But I still would recommend for a trash watch.
no, I wouldn't. I don't think, I was actively annoyed watching it because it's like repetition, no storyline. I'm not learning anything other than like how mortifying and egotistical she is.
Yeah.
And it's like, why did you put this out there? Like, I truly don't believe I'm one of the people, I'm one of the people on the sidelines saying this shouldn't have been done. And like when she goes at the end, she calls Ben to tell him that it's been picked up by Amazon. And she's like, we sold it. And he's like, oh my God, what was the feedback? And she's like, they said they got it immediately. They loved it. And like, but I'd love to know how much they actually bought it for.
Jeffrey
Because
fucking Bezos, he probably felt sorry for her. And he was like, I'll give you 50 mil for it. There you go.
well, I'd say if you think about it, like Netflix have done the deal with everybody else. Netflix have Beyonce, Netflix had the Rihanna, or sorry, the Katy Perry one. Netflix had the Justin Bieber one. Netflix had the Taylor Swift one.
Yeah.
Like, so I'd say they were like, right, we'll, you know, they have to compete in some kind of way, shape, or form. And they're like, fine, fuck it, we'll take the JLO one.
Yeah.
You know?
Probably.
But I'd love to know if she
What was
made how much money she lost on it, because she definitely didn't get her money back.
Well, she said that they went over budget for sure.
Yeah.
And they were talking about the guru at one stage.
Yeah, and he was 220 grand a day.
a day.
Who is the guru?
What guru? What
Guru?
fucking
What are you
monk
talking about?
wants that much money for a day? They are raking it in. Absolutely raking it in. Like, what fucking... You're walking around in a toga.
Yeah.
Seriously. You're making
Literally.
220 grand a day. Fuck off, like.
I know. I was like, wow.
That's...
They're like, that's going to cost. And she was like, well, it can cost that.
Yeah.
And then your one's like, she's like, you're stressing people out by worrying about money. And her friend's like, okay, but like, we don't have any more money. And then she's like, go over and talk to them. It's cool. You're stressing everybody out. Just go and talk to them.
It's just crazy. It really is.
I don't know what to say.
Like, it's just...
I do not know what to say.
I think for you to get it, though, you've, like, or at least watch the actual musical that's not a musical, that isn't a movie, that isn't a music video.
Yeah.
Do you know? It is nice to look at, I will say. But at the same time, you will be watching it going, what the fuck is this?
It's... There's just like...
Well, I'll tell you what it is. It's an hour. That's there's a fact right there.
Yeah.
You know?
So,
One
like...
thing that I can't agree on.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't know.
it's just...
And like, she's done loads of like press and called it like the Bennifer love story. Again, you're just like,
Stop calling yourself Bennifer.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, it's just...
So apparently she only paid 20 million. The original, she was originally looking for 30 million to make it, and she paid 20 million out of her own money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's not 20 million. Like, it's still 20 million you could have...
And Ben
Kept for
didn't
your
direct
kids.
it. Sorry, Ben didn't direct it. Apparently his presence was cut due to budget.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
did he not direct the documentary? Not the actual video, because Dave, whatever his face, did that. I thought he directed the actual documentary.
I don't think he did. I think he did bits. Like, again, I think he just
did
did
the
the little
interviews and
interview
stuff.
bits for it, but I don't actually.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Right, we're going to leave it at that. Watch it if you want to, don't if you don't. Like, it will be a waste of your hour, but I do feel like it's kind of entertaining, and for you to actually get the references, I think.
Someone said,
Probably.
sorry, this is a couple of the reactions, right? The Vox said, this is the most JLO thing JLO's ever done.
Yeah.
Ever done.
Yeah.
The Associated Press said, very wacky, very wild, very JLO. A comedian, Ashley Ray, tweeted, this JLO movie is like if Beyonce was a live, laugh, love girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she had CGI, a green screen, and a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah. There you go.
Absolutely fair. Before we go, I have a social star. So her name is Scambassador. She's on TikTok.
Okay.
Very funny. Just very funny. She does these lists. She's very deadpan. So I don't think she'd be for everybody, because I know not a lot of people like it when somebody's really deadpan and you don't really get the sarcasm or whatever.
Yeah.
But she's an English girl, and she's like, she gave, the first time I came across her, it was a list of things that were too long. But she's just like, this is a list of things that I just think are too long. And then she'll go into it. But very funny. Her observations are very funny. But again, very deadpan. So she's only going to be for a few people. So, but I'll link it down there.
Yeah.
I think she's very good. And then at the end of the video, she's like, this video is too long. Like this kind of thing. She's funny. So we hope you enjoyed. As always, thank you very much for your support. Love you very, very much. We love you, leave you. Love laughing, leave you. Right?
Live, laugh, loving.
Live, laugh, love you.
Love you. Bye.
Right, go on, bye.
Thank you.